right, here we go. 3:32. We spent quite a bit the first part of this show on the news that came down just really a couple of hours ago with Utah head coach Kyle Whittingham saying that saying that Charlie Brewer was no longer a part of the Utah program. The depth chart came out. Cam Rising, the starter, took over and almost brought him back in the game over the weekend. Jake Hatch covers everything Utah with us. Locked on Utes, locked on everything, including Utah sports. Joins us 365 Radio. Jake, you and I have talked a couple of times, traded some text messages back and forth. Did this surprise some people when this news came out?
A stunning development, honestly, up here. I've talked to multiple people who said they had no indication this was going to happen. So, yeah, really a surprise.
Have you gotten any indication he's intending to look at the transfer portal, or is he just done?
That is still to be determined. I have people who've been checking the transfer portal periodically to see if his name pops up. Obviously, there's a 48-hour window that the schools are required to put that name in the portal should the athlete request it. So that could be as soon as this afternoon, or it could be as late as 2 days from now. We'll keep an eye on that. But I do not know at this time what his plan is.
Did Coach Whittingham get into any particular, I know he didn't reveal the details behind why Charlie left or anything like that. That's why we're all speculating. But what were his comments? I only saw one quote, but didn't know if there was more to it than just that.
No, that's it. The statement said Charlie's has had to leave the program and we wish him well. That's the only statement we have gotten so far today. They will have media availability later tonight, and the hope is at that point Kyle Whittingham will speak to the media briefly and hopefully give some more particulars and details then.
Jake, we know what Charlie did at Baylor. We also know last year wasn't easy at all. But at the same time, there was never a question from at least who I talked to, coaches, players, those around the program, that anyone ever had a bad thing to say about him. There's always whispers about this and that. And then obviously last year went south. Craig brought this up. Was Charlie liked inside the locker room at Utah? Was he kind of got there, took over the job? I know there's competition. What was the overall feel inside that locker room?
Based on what I understood and in my brief interactions with him, I always enjoyed talking with him. But the people that I know that know this program better than I do say that he was pretty well liked. He came in, was willing to learn, really kind of integrated himself with his teammates, did a lot of the what you call player run practices during the summer to get himself associated with his receivers and all that stuff. So I don't see anything on the surface to me that indicates that he had a bad relationship that might have preempted all of this. It's just a really, really weird development, if I'm being honest.
So, obviously, we could discuss Cam Rising. We know where he came from, and obviously a very highly touted quarterback. He did give him a spark Saturday. I mean, he came in and almost brought them back. Why did Brewer win the job in the spring and not Rising?
Okay, this is completely my take on what the quarterback situation was with Utah, is that they thought that Cam Rising, coming off shoulder surgery, was probably going to be slow to get back to 100%. And they were bringing a guy like Charlie Brewer in as an insurance policy to maybe make him a one-year stopgap, if you will, while Cam Rising got back to full health. Cam Rising recovered a lot quicker than I believe anybody truly anticipated him recovering. His performance during fall camp really, I think, opened eyes and made the coaches really reconsider what they were doing. But I really feel like they felt like, okay, we promised Charlie Brewer he was going to be the guy. We're going to go with him here and see what he can do. And things did not go well, obviously, through the 3 games that he was the starter for. And as you mentioned, Cam Rising came in last week and nearly rallied them to a victory. And from that point on, I don't think the coaching staff could, in their minds, justify going back to Charlie Brewer. And I feel like he probably was just not content to be a backup at this point in his playing career.
Anything else? Jake, I know you got plenty to do, man. Appreciate your time jumping in with us. When you and I talked earlier, you said this was kind of out of nowhere. I don't know the complete story, and you're working on it as well. Thanks for your time. We'll stay in touch the rest of the day.
No problem. Thanks for having me as always, guys.
Yeah, Jake Hatch, the Zone Sports Network, covers Brigham Young, covers Utah, covers everything Utah. Has been on with us quite a bit during the realignment or expansion talk, and also even when Charlie transferred to Utah and after spring when he won that job as well. You know, one of the things I think about him, remember the run he made? Was it the overtime win, the 4 overtime win against TCU near the goal line where he ran over? How many times did he, as a diminutive-type quarterback, somehow find a way to score in some of those crowded goal line quarterback keepers, which didn't always work out?
He was a tough little booger, didn't he? I mean, he was. I mean, he was not afraid of anything. He would go head first into things, maybe to his detriment sometimes, but still, he was tough. He was a tough player.
The throw to Denzel Mims to beat Oklahoma State, the bowl game against Vanderbilt when he was, I thought, spectacular. A lot of things. There was also the down moments, like last year against Texas Tech. Wasn't there the running into the end zone and he didn't see a linebacker and somebody almost killed him? That was a huge moment in that game. I'll say this, Baylor is in better shape because of who they have right now. Gary Bohannon is their starting quarterback, but Charlie Brewer gave them 4 years, 3 special years with what he did, even though the first one was at 1-11.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what reasoning is. I mean, that's the thing that I'm most curious about. Like I said earlier, if it turns out that he's just physically done and he wants to retire from football or do whatever his next step in life is, I think everybody will go, okay, never mind. You know, I think the people that are quick to say, oh, he's a poor sport or he's taking his ball and going home or whatever, I don't think any of us know what he's been through, and maybe it's not as simple as, you know, oh, I got beat out, now I'm not going to play anymore. You know, if it is that, then obviously that says something else entirely, and everybody will, you know, have every reason to make a comment like that. But, yeah, it's just a mystery right now. I don't think it's a mystery that's going to, you know, probably last too long.
Yeah.
Because I think he does have to say something at some point, just because if he does want to continue to play, then that needs to be made known. And if he doesn't want to continue to play, even though, you know, I don't think he's an attention seeker, I think you still got to probably put that out there just to put rumors to bed and, you know, let it be known what your next step in life is. So I look forward to hearing that whenever that comes, or if it's from him or if it's from the family or whatever. But, yeah, bizarre timing, and hate it for Utah, hate it for Charlie. But Cam Rising looked really good on Saturday night, nearly won that game for them. And I would be excited about that if I was a Utes fan right now. It's like, yeah, we lost this guy, but this other guy looks better. And our team looks better with him, and you just hope that carries over, and that wasn't just hey, they made a quarterback switch, and then emotions flipped, and, you know, it's like that spark that you get for that night. Does it carry over for Utah? That's what's going to be curious to see.
From the 979, Charlie deciding to leave Utah is smart for him since he never used his red shirt at Baylor, and the new 4-game redshirt rule, he can declare this year a redshirt year, transfer with instant eligibility for his 6th year. That's from the 979.
That's something that we have not brought up, but it's absolutely true that there is the timing of it. I mentioned there's been others that have put their name in the portal, and a lot of that has to do with, hey, you're maintaining a year of eligibility. And so I would not be surprised at all, and that's a very good point, that could be the motivation behind this is like, hey, I know my future is not going to work out here for the rest. Like, I'm not getting my job back unless Cam Rising gets hurt. Or unless he just plays awful, which Charlie's probably seen enough to know that's probably not going to be the case. Probably had a hard time beating him out to begin with. So if he does think, oh, I've got more football left to play, but it's clearly not going to be here, his only option is to go into the transfer portal and save this year somehow. But we'll see.
It didn't work out. Maybe, you know, I'll never forget when I saw him playing golf during the summer before last year, which of course ended up being toast, and how excited he was to be a part of what could be the Larry Fedora offense, which we know was a complete disaster.
Yeah, well, I was really excited to see the first Suicide Squad movie, but then when it came on,
but I remember, I mean, he was, and then it just didn't work. It did not work, and across the board did not work. Everybody took bullets. It did not work, and right now, Dave Aranda, Jeff Grimes, Eric Mateos, Sean Bell, Chancey Stuckey and that offense are rolling, and now we find out a little bit more when they play Iowa State Saturday at home at 2:30.
Find out a lot more.
A hell of a lot
Saturday
more.
at 2:30.
I mean, if they're successful and they go, I'm not saying the kind of yardage, but they're successful and they can play with Iowa State, beat Iowa State, score against Iowa State, that's going to say even more. But so far, it's night and day because they never look like this at all, even in the win against Kansas a year ago.
If they go toe-to-toe with Iowa State and not even if they win that game, they're going to put some people on notice. They're like, oh, wait a second, we probably need to pay attention to them because they have their ducks in a row right now. It's just the only thing missing is proving that they can do it against a much better opponent.
All right, yeah, because most of the teams you look at in the Big 12 have at least played somebody that can test them. That can, like, even the loss by Texas to Arkansas on the road in Fayetteville. Also, even Oklahoma State at Boise, Iowa beating Iowa State. So there's been, and even Houston and Texas Tech, they've played somebody at a level that, yeah, it could be at least you better play pretty well.